I thank you everyone for being here on time. I really appreciate your attendance. My name is Gabriel Bolivar. I'm the Care Experience Manager for Maui Health System. Prior to coming to Maui Health, I was the Care Experience Director for Kaiser Permanente West Los Angeles. And then prior to that, I was the Care Experience Manager for all of our 7 outlying facilities. And then before I got even into healthcare, I was a brand manager and experiential manager for companies like Samsung, Nokia, T-Mobile, and even Ornitos Tequila, which was an awesome company before. Really nice group parties there. The benefits were pretty cool. But my job was to bring the brand to life, and I really had a lot of fun with that because I got to go to World Cyber Games, World Series, basketball games, World, you name it, I was there. Homecomings, and it was really, really cool. We did world tours from San Diego all the way to San Francisco. And my job was to make sure that you as a consumer experienced our product one-on-one, touched it, feel it, smelled it, and even took some of it home with you so you could tell your friends and family about it. Now, here at Maui Health, we're not really selling anything. We're not selling cool 3D TVs and nice little Galaxy Note phones. But what we're offering is a service that I think is the most important thing that we can do for people at a time in their life when they're most sensitive, when they're really at their lowest, right? When people are in despair, full of anxiety, having questions in their lives. I think that what we do here every single day is a God-given gift, and really something that we are blessed to be able to give back to the community as well as the world. And today we're going to be talking about, I think for me, the most important component when it comes to healthcare and the healthcare experience. And really it's the part that helps us remind our patients that they're human, that they're people, that they're not numbers, that they're not just a medical record right on our screen, but that they're families, they're brothers, they're sisters. They're individuals that deserve care and respect. And from our patients, our customers, however you want to refer to them, ears or mouths to our ears, they've told us that the most important things to them in their experience are 3 things. 1, that they want to be respected. Yeah, we can all agree upon that, yeah? 2, that they want to be explained in a way that they can understand. So talk to me in a way that I can understand. And 3, that they want to be heard. Can we all agree? I hope we can all agree because you guys are now patients here as well. I don't know if you know, but if you go down a bike down Haleakala, you jump off of Twin Falls, and you happen to hurt yourself, God willing it doesn't happen. But if it happens, you're going to end up here. So the things that we're working on today is not only for our community, it's not only for our worldly visitors, but it's for yourselves and your families and your households. And you deserve the best. I feel I deserve the best. And I want you to deserve the best. So please understand that all the training, everything that we're going to talk about today is going to impact you as well. Yeah? So think about that as we go through our training today. So first, typically I like to start my presentation with this little video, and it's a video that's brought to us by the Cleveland Clinic. And if you've done any kind of empathy training, you've been in healthcare for at least the last 10 years, you've seen this video, and it's a wonderful video. But the part that I want you to realize is that in this video, there's all these little break bubbles, these little comment themes that are coming around, and it's for the patients, and it's also for the staff in the video. But the truth is that people in real life don't have these bubbles. Life would be so much easier if it was. And there's a couple of scenarios that I'll stand out, that I'll point out to you, that really pop out to me here at this medical center. That first comment about dreading the coming to the medical center, I've heard that so many times because of COVID. I did not want to come in because I know COVID's at the hospital. so true. So many people come here to get married, and all of a sudden, dad's in the hospital because he fell off a bike. That happens to us every day. We hear it in the billing department and patient relations. This is completely true. So many of our patients are thousands and thousands of miles away from home. Pretty powerful video, yeah? Always pulls the energy out of the room. I always tell people, if you want to clear out a house party, play this in the middle of your living room, and you say, you don't gotta go home, but you gotta get out of here. This immediately clears out the room. And it's very sobering, I think it's very powerful, and that just lets us know, and it reminds us, really, and I'm blessed to see this every other week, who our patients really are. Every single person on this video, although I called some of these out, have been or will be or are presently in our hospital. All of these individuals. And unfortunately, this video shows people inside the patient's room, which we don't have at this point in time. We had to stop visitation policy, right? Only for exceptions at this point because of the COVID outbreaks on the island. And in the ED, it's hard to get family members inside, right? So they're outside waiting. So there's a lot of anxiety. A lot of the calls that we get are from family members that are not being updated, or they don't feel that they're not being updated enough. So with change of the times and with this new pandemic comes new challenges. At this time, more than ever, our patients and our families ask us to do those three things that I started this presentation with. They want us to treat them with respect. They want us to be listened to, and they want us to speak to them in a way that they can understand, right? With more frequency. That's the challenge now, with more frequency. And we'll talk a little bit about that later on. So why do we do all this? Well, we said that the patient's the most important person in our organization. And in this video, you saw different types of patient walking through the halls of the hospital, but they all had one common theme, one common thing amongst them all that was happening to all of them in that video. What was happening? What were they experiencing? Oh, there's a little Chi-Chi right behind me. Yeah. This isn't the bright one. Yes. They are scared out of their minds. Folks, I'm really transparent about my healthcare experience. I've had surgeries. I had 3 surgeries by the age of 15, really, really early on in my life. And every single time, obviously as a child, it's a new experience. And I remember those vividly because you always remember the most saddest and the most happiest memories, right? I was so afraid. But there was always someone to walk me through the process. There's always a nurse or a doctor that treated me like an adult and explained every single thing to me. There was always someone that held my hand. There was always somebody there to count me down as I was going under. That was wonderful. I always remember that. And there was always that individual that came in after the fact. It was actually a care experience leader to check up on me to see if there's anything that I can do or they could do for me to make my stay better. Unfortunately, we don't get that every single day for all of our patients. And what I mean is, sometimes we forget just because a person's older that they're a frequent flyer, that they've probably gone through this. Please treat all of our patients as if it's their first time, because for many it is. I don't know about you, but in my family, they stay away from healthcare as much as possible. But because the common theme is, how am I going to go? They're just going to give me bad news. Or, they don't even know what they're talking about, so I'm not going to go to the doctor. A lot of people, unfortunately, in my family didn't start going to the doctor until it was too late, until they had to go to the hospital. Right? And so because of this, that self-fulfilling prophecy that if I go to see a healthcare provider, bad things are going to happen. Well, bad things happen. That's why you went to go see a healthcare provider. Well, it gets even worse if we don't communicate with them well. It gets even worse if we don't treat them with respect. It gets even worse if we don't listen to them. So I ask you to please, every time you knock on that door, every time you introduce yourself, just imagine that it's their first time in a hospital. It's their first time here at Maui Memorial, which probably is. And it's their first time experiencing even free healthcare, or not free healthcare, but just healthcare provided by Medicare, right? So for a lot of people, that's their first access to care, especially if they never had insurance before. And this is a reality in the United States. And when we do this, well, our goal is that we can decrease their anxiety. Because if we can create a bond of trust in a short period of time, which is truly what we're trying to do, we have increased compliance from our patients, and we have better healthcare outcomes. All right. So how many of you, I'm just raising hands, I love to do this little survey, have been in the service industry, any service industry job, prior to getting into healthcare? You could have bus tables, grocery store, restaurant, airline, hotels, really high. Wow, this is an amazing group. Yeah, you don't have to raise your hand. Are you that true? You're the last one. Well, everyone behind you did too. That's fantastic. Wow, I think this is the first class that ever did that. Majority is about quarter, right? And as time progresses, there's less people having customer service experience or skill sets are developed earlier on in their career. This is going to be a blessed group. I'm going to look for you guys on the floor, right? Because that means that the customer service is in your DNA. You practiced it early in your life, right? Maybe this was something that you were raised with and you got into the service industry because it was part of who you are. And now you got into healthcare, God willing, because you want to continue giving back, right? Which is a wonderful thing. Now, in customer service, since you already got through this, it's just a refresh for you guys. But for those who've forgotten, anybody that's in the service industry knows that customers compare us to all other service industries. So what that means is anybody that comes through these doors in our hallways is going to compare us to the best hotel that they visited, the best airline that they came on, the best restaurant that they visited, right? Because it's a service. They paid for it, they got to receive something, and they're going to say, well, if they could do it at the Marriott, why couldn't they do it here? If they found my lost belonging on the airline, why couldn't they find it here? If they greeted me warmly, introduced themselves kindly, and they answered the phones with such professionalism, why couldn't they have done it here? And that's the expectation. And whether you know it or not, you as consumers expect the same thing, even if you go for your daily cup of coffee. People compare the healthcare industry to every other service industry. There's no exception. So the first thing that they're looking for is Customer Service 101, which it all starts with a smile. And it sounds really silly because we've got masks on, but even as we smile, even as our eyes crinkle, even as we lift our brows, even as the tone of our voice changes as I'm smiling behind this mask, people are listening, focusing their energy just so they can try to read you. Now more than ever, people look at every single part of your body to see if your body language matches what you're saying, if it matches the information that's coming out of your mouth. When that's not happening, it sends a signal to the brain that's saying, uh-oh, this is not matching up. I'm suspicious, danger, I don't trust that person. That's how our brain works. Can I ask you guys a question? What do you guys think a smile means in nature? What does a smile mean? What does smile mean? When you smile, what do you think it means?
Hello.
Huh?
Hello.
Hello, welcoming. Okay, what else? That's not right. That means it's not wrong.
Happy.
Happy, that's correct too. We're looking for one answer, but these are all right. You're dancing around it.
You're approachable.
Approachable. I like that. So you're dancing like right on it. Like if it was lava, you'd be sizzling. You're not melting yet. Approachable. Anybody else? Who said that? Ah. He said out loud for everyone?
Safe.
You're safe around me. Or I am not a threat to you. Just think about it. Anytime you've gone into a new environment and you do this unconsciously or subconsciously, one of the two, right? No, not English maybe. Subconsciously. There you go, that's the one. You come into a new environment, you took your interview for this job that you have right now. Did you get on the camera and look at everybody and go, hey, so happy to be here. Yeah, I want the job. This is the best job ever. I'm so excited. Or did you come with a big grill from ear to ear and you're like, hi everybody, thank you so much for meeting with me, right? Big smile. I'm not a threat. I want a job. I don't want your job. I just want a job. Big smiles. Teeth showing. Well, amongst humans and animals, it means the same thing. I am not a threat. So tomorrow when you go to your coffee shop or you go somewhere new, you're going to realize all of a sudden you had a grin. You're like, oh, Gabriel was right. We do this. Guess what? Patients, looking for that every single time. Because of all the other things you said. Yes, the root is that I am not a threat to you. But they want to check, are you happy? Are you safe? Is this a warm place? Do you enjoy your job? Right? How bad would it be if you came in and you said, hi, good morning, Miss Susan, how are you doing? I'm Gabriel, I'll be your nurse today. Gosh, man, this is going to be a horrible day. I really hate my job. What do you think that patient would feel? Now, sometimes we don't even have to say those words because our body language, our tone of voice, and our shortness in conversation can say that to people. So people are becoming experts in body language since we cannot use our face mask. There was actually a nurse in OB, and we had a patient who recently delivered who was deaf. Deaf. We had our sign language individuals there, right? And they're doing their translations. The nurse said, I have no idea how the patient knew what I was saying because I was talking with a mask on, yet she understood what my gist was. What do you think that meant? Without even seeing the lips, which she was a super professional lip reader, great lip reader, but without even seeing her lips, by just seeing her eyebrows, her body movement, her gestures, her pointing, maybe in the vibrations, she could know what she was talking about. People are paying more attention than ever to that. So it's important that we recognize that only the little smile is not just a little nicety, yeah, it's a great thing, but all the things that are attached to it are important as well. Body language, tone of voice, and even how we point our gestures. Obviously now because of COVID, we don't want to be as touching as much, but even warm touches sends a lot of messages. It lets people know that they're safe. All right. Next, 10-5 rule, 5-10 rule. Again, if you're in hospitality, you already know this, so this is just a rerun for you guys. But if somebody comes within 10 feet of us, we want to make sure we acknowledge that individual. So if you're walking down the hall, it doesn't matter, or if you're in the hospital, anywhere on the floors, somebody, anyone, staff member, doctors, nurses, patients, anyone comes within 10 feet of you, you want to make sure, nod your head, wave, say hello, right? I see you. I'm basically saying you exist. It's a sign of respect. I acknowledge you. But also I want you to know, especially as we start getting patients' families back, because we did have them for a short while, but as we get patients' family back, we want to let them know that, hey, you're safe here, I'm approachable, and if you need any information from me, I'm here to help you. Now, if somebody comes within 5 feet of you, right, 5 feet around you, a whole little bubble, comes within your 5-foot bubble, we want to make sure we say hello, good morning, aloha, tudo bem, however you say, como está? So that we make sure they know that we are friendly, approachable, and then we can help them out if they need to find their way, right? This is very important because energy begets energy, guys. If we keep our heads down, if we don't say hello, good morning, it's contagious. Other people start keeping their heads down. And it's like, that means, oh, I guess we don't talk here. We don't want to talk. We just got to go back to our next appointment or next meeting. I got to get this for the nurse and I got to get that for the doctor. We are one team. We are one Maui Health. And when we don't pick up our heads, whether it be for our internal stakeholders or for our customers, we're sending a message. Everything we do sends a message. And what's the message if we just kept our heads down and somebody's just aimlessly walking, we don't help them out? What does that say?
Stop saying.
It's not safe. And even
Leave
more
me
simple than that,
alone.
huh?
Leave me alone.
Is that true? That too. Yeah, that person doesn't want to be bothered. What else? Great examples.
You're not important. I don't respect
Absolutely.
you.
That's the one. And what did we say in the beginning? Our patients are the most important person in our organization. Because without them, we have no reason to be here. And we just told them, you're not important. We disrespect them. Right? Respect me, listen to me, explain to me in a way that I can understand. All right, and then last but not least, I've had the pleasure of interviewing hundreds and hundreds of doctors and nurses who have provided amazing customer service to their patients and had great scores and rewards and things given to them. And I've always asked, what's your secret sauce? What makes you special? What makes you different? Why did you go above and beyond? Why did you go outside and bring that blanket? Why did you get that person a sandwich from the lunch cart? Why did you go and deliver that medicine at their house? Why did you do all these amazing things that no one told you to do? Why did you do that? I said, well, Gabe, if that was my child, if that was my mom, if that was myself, I would want that. Right? And here now more than ever, you're literally taking care of your neighbor. Literally. Every single person here, whether it's a visitor or not, they're still on our island. And it's that small that you will encounter them again at Costco, at Target, at the gas station, right? You'll be there, Foodland, getting that delicious poke. You will encounter them again. You are taking care of your neighbor. So take care of your neighbors as you would take care of yourself and your families, okay? All right. So now I want you to think about the best customer service experience you've ever had. Maybe best hotel you've ever been to, best restaurant you've ever been to, right? Maybe best telephone encounter you've ever had. But there's a couple of things that happen in that experience, whether you knew it or not. Well, everybody hit their mark. Everybody did their thing. And it felt like magic. And it felt like, wow, this is amazing. I always tell people the best experience that I've ever had, and this is, you gotta keep me on time because I like telling the story, but this is the Condado Vanderbilt in Puerto Rico. If you ever get the chance and COVID lifts and guys start traveling again, please go there. Really, really nice 5-star hotel in San Juan, Puerto Rico. I'm definitely not one of those guys that can afford more than one night stay, so I only took one because the customer service standard was so high, I had to see what it was all about, right? If it's supposed to be the best hotel on the island, I had to go see. Well, they did not let me down, right? I looked at the reviews, and I showed up, and I felt it in person. First thing, when I pulled up, they opened the doors for me, 2 people on 2 sides with suits and headsets, and then they called it in. Hi, sir, can I have your name? Gabriel Boulevard, why? Mr. Boulevard has arrived. Mr. Boulevard, we've been awaiting your arrival. I said, huh? Now, is that true, or is that scripted? Okay. Doors open, somebody already goes to the back of the car, pops the trunk, I didn't even ask for that, they start taking things out. Okay, wait, where's my suitcase going? Sir, it'll be in your room waiting for you. Whoa. Walk around my car, as I'm going to the back of the car, one gentleman saying, right this way, sir, please. This is the front entrance. Before I even get to the door, another gentleman tells me, right this way, sir, let me hold this door for you. Holds the door open, I go right in. When I go inside, the only thing that cost money in this experience was that a person approached me with a bottle of champagne, 2 glasses, and some strawberries. This is the first time anybody's given me strawberries with champagne. I didn't know what to do. I'm thinking to myself, I'd be foolish if I don't try this, right? So I grab a strawberry, like I pretend I know what I'm doing. I eat it, and I go, this is delicious. I don't know if I was supposed to mix it. I do it anyways. They walk me up to the front. They introduce me to my registration gentleman, right? He introduces himself by name and title, gives me a little bit of history of the hotel. He tells me he's been awaiting my arrival. He checks me in for my room. Then he introduces me to my personal valet. That valet introduces himself by name, title, tells me how long he's been with that organization. He guides me to my room. As we're walking through the room, he's giving me all the wonderful highlights of things that we can do inside the hotel. He gives me his personal pager number, And then he starts opening my suitcase, and I'm like, wait, you don't want to go in there. No, you might be thinking me differently. Don't open my suitcase. Then he said, sir, can I get you some ice? And then without even asking, he just went and brought me back ice. Now, he didn't know if I needed it or not, but he started doing things anticipating my needs. He dropped back the curtains and he asked me, is there anything else I could do for you before I leave? I have time. Wow. When we finished that experience, I'm thinking to my wife, wow, they must think I'm some sort of rapper or something. I was the Hispanic guy in the place, and I was just like, I don't deserve this much service. And then I started thinking in reverse, and I said, how many individuals had to come into play to make that experience perfect? They all knew their part, and it wasn't a huge component. What was the things? They opened doors. What was that? Respect? That's pretty nice. They greeted me once the way they all said hello to me. They all said, we've been awaiting your arrival. Wow, that's like a really nice warm welcome. Made me feel wanted, appreciated, respected. As I'm going through the experience, they're educating me, right? So they're telling me things in a way that I can understand. And then as I told him not to open my suitcase, he listened to me because he stopped what he was doing. Basically, it's all the things that we want, right? Now, for organizations that never had any kind of customer service standards, we have to pick templates. And this organization, Maui Health, is no different. We had to pick something to ensure that people have a consistent experience from start to finish. And in this case, we chose Aided from the Studer Group. Quinn Studer Group, amazing company, right? Quinn Studer was an educator. He has a master's in education. And as he made his way through healthcare, he discovered that there was these opportunities in healthcare when it came to customer service that was already being met by the hairline industry, by the hotel industry, by the restaurant, food, and beverage industry. So what he started doing, he started reading a bunch of books, and he started taking notes from all these wonderful facilities. And then he made this amazing acronym. Now he's a millionaire, owns a minor league baseball team, and he retired, and he's helping preschool teachers become better leaders. So if you learn anything from today's classes, go ahead and read a bunch of books, be very astute, write an acronym, become a millionaire, and then you can invite me and I'll deliver that presentation for you. Okay? So we got a deal. It's a commitment. I had it out on being recorded, so if you guys ever back it down, also. All right, here we go. Where to go with my presentation?
I'm trying to get the alt, and it just.
It's got a mind of its own. Okay, here we go.
And then it should.
All right, so very simply, it's just an acronym. Before you start tattooing it on your forearm or you put it on a little sticker on laptops, because I've seen you guys do this before, I want you to understand that it's about the experience. It's about the process, right? So a couple of things that we want to include in our experience. So the first thing in Aided is A, acknowledge. We want to make sure that as we're entering the rooms or we're going anywhere in our facility and we meet a patient and their families, we acknowledge the patient and their families, right? And now prior to COVID, somebody would tell me, Gabriel, what if this family member has 12 family members? Do I have to shake each one of their hands and say, no, that's how disease spreads, and we totally know this now. So we just make sure we wave to everyone. How's everyone doing? We make that eye contact and we smile. We also want to make sure that we ask for the patient's preferred name. As a sign of respect, we want to make sure that we ask for how they want their name pronounced. And they also want to ask if they have a preferred pronoun in the case of one of our patients that want to be identified with a different pronoun, yes? It's always very difficult, especially here as we're an international city. We have patients from all around the world. Please do not try to pronounce a name that's very exotic. We want to try, but it can insult someone. So ask, am I pronouncing your name properly, or how do I pronounce your name? Very simple, ask, and it's a sign of respect. Yes, very simple. All right. Next thing in Aided is I's, introduction. We want to make sure that we introduce ourselves, just like that wonderful experience that I told you at the Condado Vanderbilt. They all of them introduced themselves. They told me who they were and what they did. Now that's very important because we want our patients to know who we are and what we do. Also, it's only us who can let them down. What we need to do is build trust and confidence in our abilities. Let them know we're the best we're the best at what we do, right? And that they're in great hands. Right? So the one that I love to say is, hi, my name is Gabriel Boulevard. I'm the Care Experience Manager. You're in great hands in this department. The nurses here communicate very, very well. You're gonna have a wonderful experience. How would you introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Brian. I'm a registered nurse. I'm going to take really good care of you during surgery. You're going to be safe and get you back to the recovery room afterwards.
Love it. How would you introduce yourself? Get right in the middle. Blue, there, white, blue. I don't know, blue is that navy?
Hi, my name is Val. I specialize in sterile processing department. I am here to make sure that you have all your instruments and make sure that everything that you need for your surgery is properly sterilized, and I'm going to take care of you.
Love it. All right, back corner. Don't think you sat back there. You're not gonna get asked. Last person, you right there. In the top.
Hi, my name is Marian. I'm your nurse for today, and I'm gonna make sure you're gonna be well taken care of.
Awesome. Cool. And other different versions that apply, right? So how, you can also say how long you've been in healthcare. You can say, any extra licenses or credentials that you have that may impact that treatment, right? If you're doing a particular treatment. So people want to know who you are. You just don't want to let them know if you're new. What does that mean? Well, you're going to say, hi, my name is Gabriel, I'm the phlebotomist, this is my first day, I'm so excited. No, don't say that. Okay, that does not build trust. Please hold steady. Hold on, if I remember how to do this. No, don't say that. If you are new, which is okay if you are, talk about your team, right? So talk about how well the team communicates, how well the team works together, about the great relationship that you have with the physician. People want to know that we work like this, that we're strong together, right? That's very, very important. All right, next thing, D is duration. Now this is really difficult. Trust me, I know. I heard it from all the nurses, especially in D. Gabe, don't tell me about duration. That's the hardest thing to commit to. But think about this. Nobody in this hospital wants to be here. Think about that for a second. Outside of possibly a planned pregnancy. Now, I've heard people say, oh, what if somebody broke their leg and they have to get repaired? That person didn't want their leg broken. Trust me, I know. We did it on this angle, except in a super big, long story. Nobody wants to be here. So if nobody wants to be here, and they have no idea how long a process or procedure is going to take, or when you're going to get back, how does that person feel? Anxious. Kind of trapped, kind of anxious. And unfortunately, we've seen mistakes and errors and accidents occur when patients don't get that information and they start doing things for themselves like getting out of bed when they know they shouldn't. Unfortunately, not at this facility, but I had in a previous facility a patient fall and pass away because they hit their head. So if we don't let them know how long, even approximation, and they start thinking, oh, well, I don't know when the nurse is going to come back. And we told them, we informed them that she was a call light, but they said, I don't want to bother that nurse, she must be so busy. She didn't tell me when she was coming back. I'm just going to go for it. And speaking with patients who fall, and most of them said, I just felt that I could do it. And speaking to the poor patients who had slip and falls because bodily fluids came from them and they stepped on and they fell, they said, I was too embarrassed to ask for help. I didn't know when the nurse was going to come back. These are things that happen all the time. Nobody wants to be here. These are normal people, everyday people that their body is now changing. Body's failing. We're all going to go through this. And because of that, they need more information now more than ever. Yeah. So time, even if you can give a rough estimate, even over-exaggerated estimate, is better than no information. So if you know you can't get to that patient within an hour, then let them know, I'll be back in 2 hours or less. Or my goal is to be visiting you every hour, but it might be around an hour and a half to 2 hours today because there are patients right now that have some really difficult conditions. But if you need me in between them, please press the call button. It's good to know and have a range of time. Even in the ED, and say, Gabriel, that's impossible. No, it's pretty possible. Once you've been working the flow for a while, you should know that there's 5 people ahead of them, and we average about an hour and a half per person, and that's a 5-hour wait. Or if there's a 45-minute typical, and we can make an estimate that's about 5 hours. It's better to give somebody a rough estimate so that they have control over their time than no control at all. Because in those situations, somebody gets up out of the bed without any help, or they leave the ED. They'll just walk away because they feel that nobody was listening to them. They weren't going to get any help anyway, and they felt abandoned. Really, really powerful letting people know time. Aided is explanation. Now, this I have no doubt in my mind. You guys are all trained professionals. Many of you are licensed professionals in this room. You know how to explain things, right? Yes. Unfortunately, our patients are not the best students, not the best listeners. And sometimes, unfortunately, we talk over their heads. And what I mean is that we start using, algorithms, acronyms. We start using medical terminology that is just not everyday use. Now we understand what we're saying to each other, and that's what we're telling it because we got to get this information relayed from one nurse to the next, or from the doctor to the nurse, or the nurse to the doctor. But that poor patient who wants to be informed in their care doesn't understand. So I watch bedside shift report. I come by in the early morning and I watch you guys. I used to be a microbiology major, right? In my previous life, I was going to go to med school all the way up into my senior year. Microbiology, love this stuff, great stuff. I watch your bedside shift report. I catch less than 50% of what you're saying. I'm like, what? And I tried. I literally tried. And if I can catch only 50% of what you're saying, imagine our poor patients. They're just like, what did you say? What happened to me today? Right? What do you mean standard saline was introduced intravenously with a 22 gauge? What 22 gauge? No, there's no guns in this room. What are you talking about? Standard saline? That's a car. I don't know what a saline is. So it's important. It's everyday language for us, but for them important. And you know who else is important? Their families who are no longer in the room. So when it comes to information, we want to make sure that we make the time. Yes, you're going to say, Gabriel, we have very little time. Now more than ever, we need to make sure that we contact at least one point person from that family to give them an update on what's happening to that family. Trust me, on the back end, it's going to save you a lot of time, energy, right, and sanity. Because you'll have 3, 4, 5, even 6 brothers and sisters calling you, asking if mom's okay. This happens all the time. And when you guys don't answer, it ends up in patient relations, and then we just kick it right back to you guys. It happens every single day, guys. So what we're asking is for all our nurse leaders and our nurses on the floor to please make sure you identify who that point person is, that you're communicating with it consistently, and then we document who's that family member that we're designated, that we're contacting, usually typically the person in the first position. We want to make sure that that contact information is correct. Please don't give up if that first number doesn't work, right? Try that second contact and let the family know the first number didn't work, we're speaking out to that second individual. The challenging part, and I'm going to be honest with you, is when there's only one contact person and that number isn't correct. That's happened to this guy right here. Because I'm like, oh, how do we update the family? But I'll tell you, time after time after time, I've been talking to brothers and sisters who are saying, I haven't heard anything about my mom, I haven't heard any updates. And then I call and I find out we've been speaking to the brother, and the brother's not sharing the info to the family because he's in Seattle or Oregon and everybody else is here. And I don't know why that's the first point person. So to save you a lot of time and energy, your poor work clerks and your poor managers, the frustration of trying to have to figure this out, let's make sure we document who the point person is, who are we talking to, and that we continue that conversation with them on a daily basis so that we can refer the point back to, Brother John or Sister Susan so that they can get their information from them, okay? Because now you'll be updating everybody.
10 minutes, good.
Thank you so much. All right. And then the T in aided is obviously thank. We want to make sure that we take the opportunity to thank our patients every time we're with them. So if they're doing something right, if they're doing the exercises, if they're eating their food, if there was a delay for us getting back to them, we thank them for the patients, we thank them for being a wonderful patient, we thank them for telling us about their over-the-counter medications, but we practice that gratitude because it is an opportunity that they give us to practice our God-given talents. It's very important that we let them know that we're appreciative of the opportunity, and you'll always hear me say the same thing. I really appreciate the opportunity of taking care of you and your family. Now, am I providing the direct care? No, you guys are. But through you, they gave me the opportunity to take care of them, right? So thank you, and always remember to practice that. They'll appreciate it tremendously. And again, it's a sign of respect. All right. Now, service recovery. So not always do we, we're human, and not always do we hit our mark. And sometimes we drop the ball, and that just happens. This is healthcare things. There's so many things that can go on a given day, and that's why we're constantly trying to improve our processes, right? But when something happens, we want to make sure that our patients know that we care about them, that we respect them, and that we want them to remain our patients, right? We don't want them to start looking for care outside of this island. So we need to provide service recovery immediately. Now, there's just a couple of steps, and I'll say this really quickly for you. In the service recovery process. Inside your packet, there's an example, a very typical example of a person who doesn't fit in a gown. And that's a very, very realistic example. But we want to make sure that we always take the opportunity, first of all, that we apologize to our patients. Now, this is the hardest part. We want to say that we apologize for the experience that they had. Now, this could be for anything, folks. You could be in the hallway and you see a family member and they're like really upset about the parking. It could be somebody, like you said, they bring you a bill and they said, wow, I was here last week in the ED, they charged me $1,200 for ibuprofen. Is this right? Right? And they're upset. If we do not apologize, if we do not be human, if we're not human about the situation, they'll say, any one of us, right? What's your name?
Brian.
Ryan? I say, Ryan, is this normal? $1,200 bill for ibuprofen? This is ridiculous. Don't you think it's ridiculous? How dare you guys do this? If Ryan, if he doesn't apologize, say, I'm so sorry that you're feeling this way. I'm sorry that you received that bill. Then it's not him, it's not Ryan that's rude, it's not Ryan that's unempathetic, it's Maui Health. And that's how we see it. And that's not who we are. Now, it may not be in Ryan's scope to answer that question about billing, but what Ryan can do is now field this issue. He can actually listen to the person and then give it to the correct person. We can get the information and give it to billing. So we'll talk about that. Let's just use that example, and it happens. So if somebody came into the hall, somebody's in your room, anybody asks, and this is a very typical one, and this happened to my transporters, they get the bill and talk about a previous situation. We're so sorry that you had that experience. We're sorry if the bill was confusing. We're happy to get this information to the correct party. Can you tell me a little bit about what happened? First thing we want to do is we apologize for the situation. We're not admitting fault for anything. There's nothing that you did. We're just saying that as a human, just like if somebody came to you today and said, oh my gosh, I broke up with my boyfriend. Oh my gosh, my day at work was horrible today. Oh my gosh, I ate bad food. My stomach is turned upside down. What would the first thing out of your mouth say or would be? Oh, I'm so sorry about that, right? I'm sorry you went through that. So that's the first thing. It's a natural response. The next thing is we want to make sure that we hear that person out. So that means that we have to turn on our ears and really listen. And we want to listen to the details of that conversation because immediately we want to reiterate those concerns back to the individual. This really helps de-escalate people immediately. This is a time-honored tradition that telephone companies and customer service companies have been using for over 100 years when they're calling a company that's over 2,000 miles away in another country and they're answering. The way we can tell you that I heard you from 2,000 miles away, that I listened to you, is by repeating back the issue that you said. Right? Next thing, we want to make sure that we let the patients know or the customers know that we're empathetic by saying, I know how frustrating that be, or I'm sorry that you went through that, I know how difficult that could be. Right? Lending empathy. Just a small gesture of empathy. I'm sorry, I'd be frustrated if that happened to me. I understand. Soothes people down. Next thing we want to do is, this is the only one where me and the student group part ways. Student group asks you, well, let's say, ask how you can make this better. Now, I've been in sales for a long time, I told you that, and I've been in a lot of world tours, and I've sold a lot of stuff. If you ask somebody, what can I do to make it better, the next thing's out of their mouth is going to say, give it to me for free. Let's not do that. No. I'm going to tell you, do it the better way. Amazon is wonderful at this, and you guys can have mixed opinions on Amazon, but honestly, when it comes to customer service, they're second to none. And the wonderful thing is that if you ever call Amazon and you want to return an item, the first thing that they say is, I'm sorry you had this experience with this product. And the next thing they do is, would you like me to return this product for the same one, or would you like me to find a comparable one in the marketplace? And if you don't want a replacement product, would you like credit back to your original payment method, or would you like me to put it into your Amazon account? So what Amazon then did is ask me how we would like to move forward with this experience. They gave me choices. So in the case of a situation, of billing or something that's more typical to you guys, like say inside your patient room, this food is so bland. Oh my gosh, this is horrible. Why would you give this to me? And say, I'm so sorry you feel this way. I know this is a very customized meal for you. This is physician recommended. I said, but what we can do is we can get you some lemon crystals or maybe some vinegar to add a little more flavor to your dish. Or how about some lemon? Giving them choices shows that you care. Giving them choices puts that person back in control. Now, it may not be exactly what they wanted because they wanted something fried or something delicious and yummy, right? That's what I would want. But at least you're taking the time and energy to give them choices. So ask them what they would do, how they'd like to move forward by giving them choices because they're adults. Next thing we want to do is, if somebody took the time and energy to complain to you about a billing issue, and you feel it, you heard it, you got, oh, this is when it occurred, this is your MRN, this is the name of the person, ask questions about their billing, please take this information to the right person, call somebody if you can't because you don't have the time, give it to your manager, and then they can kick it up to the correct department. But please don't collect this information, do this wonderful service recovery, and then just put it in your pocket and you forget all about it. Because again, that poor patient's waiting for a response or somebody to help them out. If all else fails and there's nobody around, you can always call us in patient relations, the patient relations department that falls under me, and we'll field that call for you. You can bring the note to us, or you can have your manager bring it to us, and then we will move it to finance and to the correct department. But we want you guys to know that we're here to support you in that. Yeah. And then lastly, we always want to take the opportunity to thank the patient or family or whoever it is that you're working with for giving us the opportunity to take care of their issue. Right? Thank you for allowing me to help you. That's it. It's that simple. Thank you for your patience and thank you for allowing me to help you. That really draws back people. I really like, whoa, what? I'm the one complaining to you, you're thanking me. Well, yes, you gave me an opportunity to help you. And that's what we're here to do. We're here to help. Okay? And it's that simple, and you'll see their smiles. Even through the mask, you'll see their smiles light up. So it's a very big, very basic gesture. Practicing gratitude really helps a lot. And it lets our patients know and their families that we truly care about them. All right? So that's AHART, and I want to finish up with talk about our language services. All right, so really quick language services, because I only got like 2 minutes, right? 1 minute. We want to make sure that you guys know that we do have language services for our patients that we are mandated to use and utilize to make sure that we're communicating with our patients in their preferred language. So on the far left, we have Stratus, and Stratus is our video interpreting services. You're going to see these cards. You can always ask your ward clerk or your charge nurse where they're located, but they're always on the unit floors. They're up and going, and they have their selected languages on there. These are languages that are available typically 24 hours a day. If the language is not available in this video interpreting service, you can use your language line. Language line, again, another service that you guys have all used, I'm sure, in the past. That's 24 hours. It's over 124 different languages. But out of those 124 different languages, they don't really focus a lot on Micronesian languages. Right? We have a very specific population, so Micronesian, Polynesian languages. For that, we have Language Services Hawaii. So we've been really pushing and focusing our energy on driving a lot of our calls through Language Services Hawaii. It's a 24-hour resource that really does specialize in those languages. They also have everything else that you think under the sun, but they do have a great variety of our Micronesian and Polynesian languages. And then last but not least, for our sign language patients, we do have our American Sign Language Services. There are 2 interpreters on island. Now, obviously, they're human, and if it takes time to get them at 3 a.m., because that's when the patient needs it, you can always use Stratus, where they do have 24-hour translators for emergency purposes. So if you're in the ED, or it's 3 o'clock in the morning, and we can't get our 2 designated translators, you can always use Stratus, where there's a 24-hour video sign language interpreter there for you, yeah? So, my time, I want to thank you guys so much for all of the time and energy and compassion that you'll be giving our patients. I really thank you so much for your attention, and I want to welcome you formally to Maui Health. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much, everyone.